Yo, hey, what's up, guys? Today, man, I want to talk about some Paladin. I've been having a lot of fun with Paladin. It got some upgrades, man. Sentinel got upgraded to Guardian, which is 40%, plus 1,000 potency shield, which is super good. Also, Atonement got upgraded to 2 extra abilities. Supplication, which does a little bit more damage, and also Sepulture, which does a little bit more damage. It also got Blade of Honor, which is an off GCD after you use Blade of Valor. Wreck was also upgraded to Imperator. The really cool thing about this, man, is a 25 yalm range, which is really cool. So that way, when you're like moving the boss, you can, you don't have to worry about staying within, melee range or whatever. So a lot of good stuff, man. Unfortunately, Hallowed Ground is still the same, but they kind of lock themselves into that, where if they adjust this, they're going to have to adjust the others. And it's kind of just a bad situation all around. But anyway, maybe we'll see changes in this in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's look at the opener here. This is the opener that I've been using. I've been getting pretty good numbers. Real quick, man, I mentioned this in the other videos, but this is a 7.0 basic tank openers and rotations. It's not yet finished, subject to change. Openers may be slightly different depending on each fight and comp. If you're not pulling remove the range attack. That's true for pretty much everybody with Paladin. You're always going to Holy Spirit. But anyway, there may or may not be like little changes here and there, like off GCDs maybe in the wrong spot or whatever. If they do, let me know and I'll fix them. But for the most part, it's like one of those things where I can do the opener no problem because it's muscle memory, but when I have to actually like piece it together and think about it and stuff, sometimes I goof a little bit. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that these openers are like 99.9% correct in what I use and what I do. But anyway, so we'll just look at the standard opener real fast. So this is the standard opener, and I play at 2.5. You should play Paladin at 2.5. You can play it at faster, but you're going to be losing some damage because Paladin has a very set rotation. A lot of its burst makes no use of skill speed. Like all of its blade combo doesn't use skill speed at all. So I would recommend playing it at 2.5. So I use a potion here because this potion will cover the very last Sepulture. I also do Fight or Flight and Wreck super early. Goring Blade here, for some reason on this website, it's a GCD, so I love this website, but if the creator could change this is a small thing that needs to be changed. I mentioned this in other videos, but again, I prioritize activation casts over buffs. So basically, if I can get in an extra Wreck or an extra Fight or Flight, then I'm going to do that because more activations is better than lining things up. If I can get an entirely extra activation in, then that's going to be higher damage. With that being said, this is why I use Fight or Flight and Wreck super early, as well as this is also why I pot super early. So to give you an example, like in the current 2 fights right now, we have EX1 and EX2. In EX2, you can get an extra 2-minute in at the very end of the fight before the boss dies, but you need to use your stuff on cooldown. You need to use your stuff like as soon as possible. If you wait, multiple GCDs, then you won't be able to get that full extra usage in, if you even get an extra usage in at all. That is my reasoning for why I use this super early. You can push this back if you want, or, let's say you have the kill time of the fight and you don't actually get in any extra activations, then you can push all this stuff back to make sure that what you do get in is more powerful. But this is the opener that I've been using. It's pretty standard. This will make everything line up very well throughout the entire fight. Paladin has 2 different burst windows that I have been messing around with. The Sepulture burst window and the Holy Spirit burst window. Basically, all of the GCDs are the same except for the last 3. In the Sepulture, you're going to use Supplication, Sepulture, then Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit, you're going to use Holy Spirit, Royal Authority, Holy Spirit. The Sepulture one is 30 potency higher. However, depending on mechanics, depending on drift, you are not always going to be able to line this up. Now, I have found that delaying your burst by a single GCD is okay, but any more than that, and you're running the risk of desyncing stuff, and not only desyncing stuff, but you're also going to lose an activation. The reason why that there's 2, that I've been messing around with 2 here, is because this will not always line up. You will not always be in a situation you use an atonement, like you prep an atonement, and then you use your Fight or Flight, and these 3 GCDs be at the end. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. So if that's the case, ideally you want to do this, but if that's not the case, the next best scenario to not delay your Fight or Flight is to use the old rotation, which is the Holy Spirit. This is the next best case scenario, at least from what I found. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've been doing. This is also very easy to adjust. You can tell at 15 seconds, you can tell at 12 seconds. Ideally, you want to be starting a whole new combo with no atonement prep, 1 Holy Spirit around 12 seconds. So around 12 seconds on your fight or flight window, you need to expend everything, and then that will give you enough time to do a Royal Authority combo to prep a Holy Spirit, and then do 1 atonement, and then this should line up perfectly. What I've been doing is I've been looking for around 12 seconds on fight or flight, and if I am starting a fresh combo with nothing saved, then I know that my 1, 2, 3 will drop it down to about 2 seconds, and then I will use an atonement, and then it'll line everything up. If you need more time, you can always add in an extra fast blade or riot blade. Let's go ahead and do just like the basic opener. Okay, so I'm not going to use a pot because I'm cheap, but we'll start this. So we're going to Holy Spirit at 2. Potion. And then this is kind of like a pseudo pot timer, if you will. Ooh. And then this should give you 3 GCDs here. And that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much the opener. And you're going to continue to use your atonements and use your Holy Spirits like normal until you get to the burst window. And then, like I said, what I have noticed, like what I've been messing around with here, I've been having a lot of fun on Paladin. And it's been really fun to try to GCD map or whatever, and just do the fights in general. So drift will mess this up, and also, but more importantly, like mechanics will also mess this up, and it's okay if it gets messed up. The DPS discrepancy between these two is virtually nothing. It's 30 potency. This opener right here is designed to set you up for this burst window throughout the entire fight. However, depending on mechanics, this setup is going to get messed up, and there's really not too much you can do about it. You just have to fix it. So when you do that, I fall back on this. I fall back to the older rotation. But ideally, you want to have what I found is you want to do this as much as you can, but if you can't do this, it's okay. You can always just fall back on this. It's been really interesting to try to, I guess, manipulate my GCDs in this way. I've been having a lot of fun on Paladin, a lot more than I thought, and the fact that you can do 2 different burst rotations, based on where you're at, is very interesting to me. The reason why that I say this, that there's 2 here, is because you do not want to sit on your fight or flight or wreck for too long. I think that holding your fight or flight and wreck for 1 GCD is okay. So sometimes you'll line up where your fight or flight and wreck will be off cooldown and you're about to hit a Royal Authority. I think it's okay to do that Royal Authority and then do 1 atonement and then go into your burst. I think that's okay. I mean, it could be okay in other fights, but right now we only have 2. So that's just what I've noticed, is that holding it for 1 GCD doesn't really mess anything up. But if you hold it for more than 1, it can potentially, and then if you hold it for like 3, it'll definitely start to mess things up. And not only will you lose an activation later in the fight or potentially, but you'll also desync your stuff from raid buffs, because you do want to get as much potency into raid buffs as possible. It's just the initial approach for me personally is I like to get in extra activations. So that is why I prioritize that. But then once that's figured out, I will then adjust things slightly to try to put as much potency in raid buffs. So this is very interesting to me. I've been doing both these and been having really good results. And also this Holy Spirit burst window is still good in the fact that you don't lose downtime. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but it can potentially happen. Right now in the EX trial, I mean, you can kind of just eat everything, so it doesn't really matter. But like when we do Savage, at the end of the month, or when we do Ultimate, you're not going to be able to do that. So this will shine, I think, stronger there. So we can just show off this. We just show off the atonement and burst window type of stuff, man. Yeah, so pretty much, you want to, after you use Royal Authority, you're going to get your Atonement combo procced, and then you're going to get a Holy Spirit. So you just use your Holy Spirit, use your 3 hits of Atonement, and then, just do 1, 2, 3 again. And this is pretty much it, man. This is pretty much what you're going to do, like in your, in the downtime or whatever, in between burst phases. So if you notice right here, so it's going to be like 15. So this is good because this will allow me to basically prep all my stuff. So right here, I'm going to use an atonement, and then that's going to set everything up again perfect. So now I'm going to be able to do the highest burst window, which is the Sepulture. But if for whatever reason it gets messed up, you know, you can always fall back on the double Holy Spirit. So then we'll do like one more rotation just so you guys can see again. You can notice your timer here. So like pretty much any time between, I don't know, like if it's around 20, you know, when you start your, so like when it's like 12 here, like I mentioned, you know, and you have no Holy Spirit, you have no atonement, this is going to give you enough, it's going to give you enough time. So now it's going to line up perfect again. You know what I mean? So if you notice, there's a teeny tiny little itty bitty drift. That's just going to happen naturally. And then eventually over the course of the fight, it'll be like much more noticeable. But yeah, that's pretty much like the standard rotation. You know, that's just what I've been doing and stuff. Seems to be working really well for me. You typically just want to loop that over and over, you know. Overall, I think that Paladin is really, really, really fun, man. It's a really good tank. It's very strong defensively, and it also has a lot of, I guess, flexibility with its rotation and what it can do. Almost nothing breaks your combo, so that's really good. I don't really want to speak too much on damage because, you know, there's going to be buffs next week. There's going to be job changes next week, so we don't know what we're going to do. If anything significantly changes, I'll be sure to update this video or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about this, discuss this a little bit. And like I said, man, all these rotations, they're like 99.9% finished, but there may be a slight error here and there in off GCDs or something. If there is, let me know and I'll change it. But anyway, man, yo guys, thanks a lot for watching, and yo, see you later. Peace.